Запрошуємо вас на церемонію вручення нагороди Кобзар Literary Award, а також познайомитися із авторами-фіналістами і послухати про книжку, яку журі визнано переможцем.
Недавно в Торонто у Пале Рояль відбулася чергова презентація престижної літературної нагороди Шевченківської фундації, яка називається Кобзар Award.
Нині є наш Кобзарський Literary Award, our Kobzar Literary Awards, where we are giving a major award to a Canadian author who has written on Ukrainian-Canadian themes.
Ціль цієї нагороди – поширення української тематики в канадській літературі. Щодругий рік Шевченківська фундація нагороджує автора призом $25 000 за літературну публікацію в жанрі поезії, художньої та нехудожньої літератури, літератури для молоді, драми, кіносценаріїв та мюзиклів.
Ми стараємося будувати літературу, але література, яка писана ким-небудь, хто може-небудь, але тема має бути українська, канадська тема. Так що, я думаю, у нас є такі історії і цілі, ми можемо драми, що у нас такі наші батьки, прадіди переїхали колись до Канади з України чи як, і є історії. І я думаю, Канада повинна знати.
Було номіновано 5 вибраних авторів, які розповіли нам про свої публікації.
Моя книжка є історична біографія Василя Авраменка. Він був дуже контроверсійним мисцем. Він був батько українських народних танків в Канаді. Він також був одинокою людиною в Північній Америці, яка пробувала робити фільми на українській темі в міжвоєнній добі. Так що книжка є про нього. Вона є унікальна тим, що я пробую його кар'єру поставити в контекст північноамериканської популярної культури.
My book is about, it's an oral history of Sudbury's Ukrainian community. I conducted 82 interviews with my Baba, and we went around to the homes of people who belong to nationalist organizations, Catholic organizations, progressive, and we talked to them about what their experiences were in the Depression. And growing up in Sudbury in a mining community. And so the book brings all those stories together, and it gives a social history of the mining community from the perspective of the Ukrainians who live there.
The reason that I wanted to write Underground Soldier is because there has not been a work of fiction written about the Ukrainian insurgent army. And I mean, it was the biggest underground army during World War II that wasn't supported by any government. And, you know, it's a big part of Ukrainian history, and I felt that it needed to be highlighted. There are heroes.
A detachment is about adopting my sons in Ukraine when they were 3 and 5 years old. And it also flashes back to my father's childhood. He fled from Soviet Ukraine during the Second World War, and he was a Mennonite. So the book deals with that. It also deals with the aftermath of the adoption, what it was like having an instant family where 2 of us spoke Ukrainian and 2 of us did not, and figuring out how to function as a family, coming to terms with my father's background, which he'd never told me anything about, the trauma that he lived through. He also became an orphan and was a war refugee. So the book deals with all those issues.
What is your book about?
It's about a first generation Ukrainian kid who grows up in the shadow of all the notorious chaos of his parents, and in many ways is left out of it, and it's left in the dark, and that creates a kind of a conflict. He's intrigued by it, and yet he's shut out of it because his family tries to keep him protected from it.
У журі було нелегке завдання вибрати серед номінованих творів переможця.
Журі були не українці, вони були славні журі, які зауважили. Було, я думаю, 18 чи 19 книжок, які були написані. Вони подали, і вони вирішили з тих, що 5 заслужили бути in a shortlist.
What do you look in the book to be a winner? Like, what are you looking for?
Personally, because I can't speak for my fellow adjudicators, but I was looking for the sense of life. I was looking for an experience of of feeling the life of the characters in the book or of the stories being told, whether those stories were fictional or non-fiction, whether they came from Ukraine or from experiences in Canada. So something that felt real to me, something that felt as though it was mine, it could be mine.
Why do you think Kobzar literary awards are important?
Because, to quote a fellow Canadian author, Margaret Atwood, because a word after a word after a word is power. And stories and words are very, very powerful. Even more now, when we're so inundated by words, by information. A book and a story makes us stop and enter another world in a very, very unique way that some other art forms don't really do.
На вечорі були чисельно присутні члени української громади, представники фундації, прихильники номінованих авторів та почесні гості.
It's a great source of pride. І англійська, англомовна громада також знає про цю it's a really big Kobzar awards are very well known.
Ведучими вечора були доктор Христина Туркевич та актор і продюсер Фред Кітінг.
All 5 books demonstrate innovative treatments and interpretations of what constitutes a Canadian-Ukrainian theme, and tonight's readings by the authors themselves will provide a sample of that in this provocative and engaging craft. And one author will be presented with a statuette you see here on stage called Kobzar, created by internationally renowned Canadian artist Leo Moll.
Під час вечері присутні мали змогу послухати уривки з номінованих книг в читанні авторів.
The corpses around me provided an odd sort of comfort. These people had been my friends and fellow captives. We had worked alongside each other during long, harsh months in the Nazi slave camp, helping each other when we could. Above me was Josip, who had been injured with me in the bomb blast at the factory. In life, he had tried to protect us younger boys from the harsher jobs, and now, in death, his body was my shield.
Vasyl Avramenko was not a typical Ukrainian immigrant. Unlike most of his countrymen who immigrated to North America, Avramenko was born near Kyiv in the Russian Empire. A migrant laborer in his youth, he finally found his calling as an actor and a dancer while serving with the Imperial Russian and Ukrainian National Republican armies. After the revolution of 1917, he fought for Ukrainian independence and immigrated to North America, where he attempted to draw attention to his people's political struggle by showcasing their vibrant folk culture.
Guys, this is how it will work, he said. It is hard to find healthy children to adopt right now, but I talk to my friends at the National Adoption Center. They make phone calls, I help them, they help me. A page later. It's hard to find healthy children, Nikolai said into our silence. These 2 boys, they are great and in the West. A couple of pages later. Betsy, I said, tightening my grip on her hand as Kyiv's street noise filtered over us. If we had biological children, we'd have no control over their sex. That's true, she said. Through the wall, a TV blared Ukrainian pop music. Could you be happy with boys? Yes, she said, squeezing back, and I felt closer to her in that moment than I ever had to anyone.
Кульмінацією вечора було оголошення переможця літературного конкурсу Kobzar Award.
A woman who burns out Stalin's eyes. An old lady who refuses forever to buckle herself in. The first filmmaker in Canada to make films in a foreign language, Ukrainian. The child who wriggles out from among the bodies of her beloved companions and finds her way to freedom. Powerful, powerful works that taught me so much, not just about Ukraine, but about the country that I live in. Our choice fell to and yay, fell to Maurice Mirau for Detachment. An adoption memoir.
I want to thank the Shevchenko Foundation and all of you and for being here, the sponsors. This is a huge thrill for me, and I want to say that voices ought not to be measured by how pretty they are. Instead, they matter only if they convince you that they are telling the truth. And that's what the great poets like Taras Shevchenko and Emily Dickinson do, and it's excuse me, what I strive for as an artist without usually succeeding. So I thank you for recognizing my attempt to convince you of the truth in my book, and doju jakuyu.
What would you do with the prize money?
I would give some money to UAS, who are an adoption service based in Winnipeg, who run a program called Orphans Future that helps kids who come out of the orphanage system in Western Ukraine.
Ми вже тут 125 років, ми маємо велику силу, ми збудували націю Канада, і ми хотіли дати премію, щоб дати іскру, щоб письменники написали більше про українців в Канаді. Не тільки для нас і не тільки для людей, що приїжджають з України, аби щоб всі канадці знали, хто ми є.